Hey guys, how you doing? Ron's a Nut here. Well, I have the Lian PC-Q08 case here. This is going to be my home theater PC, and what I want to do now, I'm going to start off with taking it apart. Since it's such a small, tiny, tight case, I need to mount the radiator first. So I got to confirm what I'm going to do with mounting the radiator. It gets mounted in the front, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use the bracket that comes with the case, or if I'm going to have to mod the case in any way to mount it. And then also I'm going to mount the fan with it. So I need to take a look at that, and to do that I'm going to need to remove the drive cages that are here right now for this in this case. And the Stealth 140 is the rad that's going to go in here, black ice, and it is 31.3 mil thick. So that plus 20 mil air-cool fan, that's about 51.3 mil of space that I need to gain in here. And I'll need to convert that, but basically looks like I have upwards of, depends on where I mount it, either like almost 2 inches of space. And so that's just about 50 mil, so it's going to be tight. So let me take it apart and then I'll show you what I'm looking at, and we'll see where we go from there. Well, might as well show you that to take out the drive cages in this case, you remove this screw and these 4 screws for the bottom portion of the drive bays. They're separated into 2, one small one here and then this one, and this actually has a couple of screws that are just to act as guides that this tray will slide into. So I don't know if you can see that, but right back there, there's 2 screws, and this, I undo this, this will slide right out. And actually I should be able to do that right now on camera. So that's removable of one tray, and then in order to get this guy out, I need to remove these 4 screws at the bottom here. Let's see if I can do that quickly. I'll edit that out. Okay. So with that removed, this tray comes out. And let's see here. I don't want to remove the optical bay. That's planned to stay. So looks like there is some screws on this front panel here that'll allow me to get them. So I think I'm going to have to take off this side to do that as well. So okay, I have the side off. Now there's screw mounting points here that and down here, a couple of screws that I believe take off the tray that houses the front I/O and also the fan bracket. Let's see. Now there's another screw right here. Alright, so this front assembly has a filter, the power button and reset, and the USB. And let's remove. Now this has got a couple of, you loosen these up and you just slide them through. The whole assembly comes off. So it looks like if I'm going to use that space in this bracketry here without modifying anything, I'm going to have to use this bracket. So let's take a look and see how I can mount the air-cool and the radiator to that setup. Okay, I've got the fan mount bracket from inside the front of the case off, and basically you remove, this has got a nice plastic latching that just connects right in, so this fan filter is really nice in this bracket, so I'd like to reuse this if I can. Then there's 4 screws that come off to take off the 140 Lian Li fan that comes with it. And then what I'm going to put in there is this streamliner. Let's take a look at what comes in the box. Obviously a very thin fan, 5 mil thinner I guess than that one. And there is a shroud you can use to adapt it to mount in a 120 mount, but I'm not going to use that. Then it also has, oh, and this is real nice, it's nice black sleeving, heat shrink. Looks really good, and I believe this comes on, there's some blue LEDs in this fan. And then some screw mounts and Molex adapter that comes with this fan too. So what I'm going to do is look at potentially mounting the fan and then mounting the rad to the back of it, but I got to figure out if I use this bracket how best to do that. And I'm not going to drill holes, I don't think, to mount the radiator to that. So I'm gonna plan to use the bracket and probably put the fan in a push through it, and we'll take a look and see. I'll test fit it now. Let's take a look, see what's inside the see what comes with the radiator. Take a look at the radiator here. This is the Black Ice Stealth 140 Generation 2 radiator. Let's see, we have traditional warning probably that comes with all these radiators. It says please check the length of screws before you begin installation. Using screws that are too long may cause damage to the radiator, subsequent leakage. Not covered. Alright, so we have gloss black radiator. That's pretty thin. And I believe we should have some kind of hardware, and we do. Looks like we have hardware only that goes, I guess, through a fan. There's no short hardware, so these are M4 screws, so if you get this particular Black Ice radiator, remember you got M4 screws that you're going to have to deal with. So but it looks really nice. I mean, just it only has the two 2/4 ports there. I'm gonna have to flush this guy here too, and then it's got mounting points on either side. Now it looks like there's a plate. Yeah, it looks like there's a little plate here that you cannot screw this all the way through into the fins. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. And looking at this radiator, there is no fins there. There's a stop, so that's good. And then on this side, yeah, same thing. They welded a little plate underneath so that you can't go into the fins here. I don't know if you can see it. I can't tell. But if you look underneath here in this corner, you might be able to see there's a gloss black plate that protects the keeps the screw from going all the way through. It covers over the fins there. Alright, so I've got the rad. Now I've got to work with the bracketry here to see if I can get it to mount. Looks like I'm not going to be able to use the drive bays, but I'm not sure. I think in order to not use the drive bays, I've got to mount these guys together and then mount them directly to the front of the case. So I'm going to measure that and see how close I am. We're about 51 mil between the two of these here, and I think I measured the radiator, the drive bays mounted in there, and we'll see how close they are, but I think it was just about 50, so tight squeeze. So it looks like in order for me to be able to use the front mounting bracket that came with the Lian, I'm going to have the radiator, the fan sandwiched between it, and then this mounted to it. So it's going to be a kind of a setup so that I can reuse the original bracket mounting and the fan filter that also comes with it. So see if I can get those to line up and see if the screws are long enough. Yeah, so using the bracket, I was able to mount the radiator and also preserve the filter. And so I have the fan and a push. And now next is there shouldn't be any issues with this because really everything is adhering to the exact original design. I also added some, since I actually lost some space, I added some rubber washers to dampen anything, and although also it should be dampened by these rubber washers here, but now this should slide onto this bracket. Alright, and then we now have this lined up just right. Perfect. Alright. You know what, and if I don't use the drive bays, I actually probably could get another fan on there, but it's just cooling the CPU that's not overclocked, so I don't think I need to do that. Alright, so we have this mounted. I do need to flush this radiator. Okay, here we are flushing the rad, the Stealth GT140. And if you're interested in more about this radiator flushing setup, take a look at the link below. Alright, got the radiator flush mounted and now ready to install back into the front of the case. Okay, radiator is installed. Just a stock look. Now, now that I think of it, since I'm not using the card cage, if you're going to use this case for a for a small LAN box or powerhouse system, and you're going to overclock your processor or maybe add a water-cooled graphics card, you could go then with a thicker rad here. I guess you'd probably come out about this far, because if you're not going to use the drive bays, if you're going to have an SSD or something mounted somewhere else in the case, and you don't need the drive cages, then you definitely could go with a thicker rad for better cooling. And you might even want to do push-pull, and you could go with a thicker fan probably. But this is about 30. This was what? Yeah, about 30 mil. So thick rads, twice that, 60. That's about here. So now you start looking, you start bumping up against, depending on the graphics card length you're going to use. So, but again, for what I'm using it for, just a stock cooling and not overclocking a processor only. This will be just fine. But now the more that I think about it, if you don't use the drive cages, then you can afford yourself a thicker 140 rad if you wanted to. Alright, now that we've got the radiator and the fan mounted on the bracket here, the next thing to do is really to get a feel for where I'm going to mount the reservoir and the pump. But in order to do that, I really need to mount the motherboard and also the power supply to see what space I have left. So the motherboard gets mounted on this plate right here, which gets placed on this back side. So I'll see where the CPU is and where the tubing routing is going to be, and then I'll also put the power supply here to see how far it comes in and where the cables will need to run to. So I know it's going to be in this area, but I need to narrow that down. So it's time to start putting the motherboard together and the processor. And so we're going to get a wrist strap on. We're going to put the 3570K into the ASRock Z77E ITX motherboard. And we've got some G-Skill sniper memory. And then we'll be mounting the new EK Supreme LT Uni nickel plexi block on top of this guy, on top of the CPU. Alright, so get started with taking out the motherboard. Okay, we've got the CPU installed and the RAM installed, and now I have to mount on this plate in order to see how it lines up for the reservoir of the pump. Now I know it's going to be mounted on here, so the question is how also though to orient the water block on the processor chip. So let me get them mounted onto the tray and positioned inside the case and get an idea of what orientation this is going to be as well. Okay, I've got the motherboard on the side panel, and now just adjusting it for where it's going to be out the back. So let's see. I don't want to secure it on there right now. Alright. So the water block's going to go on there. The audio card is planned to go down here. So the pump will be around here. Power supply. Don't know how much room I have there. I'm going to have to mount that now to take a look and see if I'm going to bring the tubing off of here, go over the card if there's space, and then here, or probably probably best to just take it over top of the take it over top of the RAM. So I think I'm gonna mount the water block on here, and then see if I got some fittings to bring the tubes over the top of the RAM. I think to try to go down this way is just not worth it. And since I don't have the drive cages here, I got space to go over them. So let's see what that looks like when we get the water block installed on the CPU. Okay, might as well share with you some challenges I had in mounting the water block. I had bought this EK Supreme LT Uni on sale, and I've had it for a few months, and it turns out that one of the couple of things that were not included was it's missing one of the 4 posts that should be in it to be able to secure all 4 corners of the block. So that's a bummer. And the other thing too is there's supposed to be this backplate retention that provides the retention plate for mounting the water block, and now that didn't come with it. But I happen to have from my LG 2011 build. I just had to get special mounting posts from my EK Supreme to mount to the existing bracket that's built onto the motherboard holding the CPU chip in. So this was available. So what I've cobbled together is this plus the insulator, some of the other pieces. I took these posts out of another kit that I had from my Prodigy build that has also an EK Supreme in it. So I got these posts from that. I got the bracket from my Big Bang X-Power 2 system. And then now I'm to a point where I think I can mount this guy here properly on here. Thank goodness they gave me four springs. So I've got that, and looks like all the other pieces that you would normally need to mount it. So now I'm going to go ahead and get some thermal paste, put it on here, and mount this puppy. This water block looks pretty good. It's really nice. I got it for like half price new, but come to find out why now. Looks like some pieces were missing. Although this was sealed. This was brand new and sealed in the package. So I don't know if that was EK's fault or Performance PC's fault. Who knows? But looks like I won't have to stop. I can finish mounting the water block on here and getting it fitted inside of the case. Okay, I use Arctic silver Arctic cooling compound MX4, and I'm going to use the line method. You put one line in the middle of the CPU. There you go. Guys are nice and tight. Remove before use. Nice, clean, shiny pack, and I'm going to mount it so that you can actually see the block. Although that means I will have a couple of 45s coming off of here, but there you go. And now it's time to put the washers on here. Some plastic ones to protect the paint. Alright, to finally overcome the challenge of not having of the missing parts out of the block, rather than either have it arranged to return this, and I don't think I can return it because I think it was a clearance, that's why the deal was so sweet. In order to make it work, I was hoping to be able to cut down the spring, and you can see right there the spring is taller than the post on this, so I would have had to cut the spring down, and I tried to, but these are steel, so it's too difficult to be able to cut them, at least with the tools that I have. So I went ahead and put a nylon washer on top of the bracket, and then on top of that I put two more flat washers. So the nylon washer can give some, and I torqued these guys down as far as they could go. So the combination of the tension from the back plate and from I guess the give of this bracket, if any, I believe I've got this block on there really good. So we'll see what kind of temps I get out of it. Again, it's not going to be overclocked, so as long as it's cool and it doesn't come off, which I don't think it will, I think we'll be in good shape. So there she blows. That's what she looks like with the EK Supreme LT. And but I learned a lesson on buying clearance stuff. Yeah, the price is good, but sometimes at a cost. And so anyway, it looks good. Black and silver, basically, right, and a little bit of gold from the ASRock heatsink cover and the caps. All right, so now I'm going to mount it back on this plate here. And get all of these extra pieces out of the way. And then take a look at the motherboard inside of the case, and also put the power supply in. Okay, we have the motherboard mounted and the back plate tacked in there. So we're running out of space here now. I've got power cable that I've got to mount here, so back towards this side is going to be some cabling here. I'm going to have to run the cables to here. So yeah, there's a lot of cabling activity there, so it looks like pump res is going to have to sit up in the front. So you can see I've got the power supply mounted. There's just some space up here from breathing room for the fan. The water block is right there, so the audio card's going to go in this slot, so really there's not going to be any space to bring tubing down. It's going to have to come up and over the RAM, and it also is going to have to contend with the power cables. Really it's the main power cable, and then power to the optical drive back there, and then power for the pump. So those are really the main power that I need. So SSD I believe I'm going to mount here, and radiator and pump right here. Alright, so I think that's it for this video. Part 2 will cover selecting the pump and finishing the mounting and installation of the pump and the res and the rest of the bits for this Lian Li PC-Q08 home theater build with a 3570K processor and a Creative Sound Blaster titanium HD sound card, water cooled. That's it from Ron's. Be on the lookout for part 3, finishing the build of the water cooled home theater PC in a Lian Li PC-Q08 case. Thanks. That's it from Ron's a Nut. Please like and subscribe if you're so inclined.